Good evening, everyone. We have with us a special guest today, a person who is not only a barrier of repute, but someone who is truly dedicated to the social causes of the most vulnerable. His name is Sri Manoj Abraham, IPS. Everyone is already familiar with his name. He is currently the ADGP, Additional Director General of Police of Thiruvananthapuram Range, and the head in Kerala State, India. He worked as Superintendent of Police in Pathanamthitta, Kollam, and Kannur districts, followed by a 7-year stint as Commissioner of Police of Cochin and Thiruvananthapuram cities, and a 5-year tenure as IGP Thiruvananthapuram Range. He has done a lot of work in the area of community policing, including Maitri and Jana Maitri. He has also co-authored a book called Policing, published by Taylor Publications. In the area of cyber crimes, he is the director of the Cocoon Conference held annually on the theme of public-private partnership for enhancing private security. He is also the architect of Cyberdome. Most of the Keralites will be already familiar with this name. I think most of the Indians are familiar with this name. A Center for Private-Public Participation in Cyber Policing, which has become a role model center for cybersecurity in the PPP domain. Sir has won several national and international awards in the area of cyber crimes and cybersecurity, which includes the Interpol honor, be a champion for child protection for the stupendous work done with regards to preventing online crimes against children. Most recently, in 2022, he won the e-Governance Award of Government of India for the social media activities during COVID pandemic. In the area of traffic management and cyber crimes, he has introduced various innovative projects. He also heads numerous other divisions like the Banking Frauds Division, Cyber Research Division, Kerala Sports, and Kerala Police Welfare Division, the CSN Stadium, the list goes on. He has been attributed for bringing many innovative changes in these areas of police work. Now we invite you, sir, to deliver the talk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Krishnashree. It's indeed a pleasure to come and speak once again at such conferences, because it's in the cyber realm, as we all know, awareness is one of the most crucial things that can help everybody, because this is a collaborative activity. Cyber security is a collaborative activity. That's why Kerala Police has always gone in for public-private participation, because we understand that in the digital world, we require collaboration from all stakeholders. So hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Sir, yeah, can you put it in full screen mode, sir? Presentation.
So basically, thank you very much. I saw that earlier speakers are talking about all the relevant topics of cyber security, the threats in the cyber world. So I thought I'd concentrate on basically one of the sensitive issues in the digital world, that's crime against children, or the cyber trafficking, the digital trafficking as you call it, crimes against children in the online platform, which is one of the major problems that we see, which we should be aware of. And it is a thing that we all need to work together to ensure that our children are safe in the digital realm. Okay, just to talk human trafficking, as everybody knows, the physical trafficking, the digital trafficking, it's one of the third biggest crime in the world after, say, the arms trafficking and the drugs trafficking. Human trafficking is the third most biggest crime in the international framework. And just figures of 2 years back, only 20 million people in this world are affected by human trafficking. And 55% of those 20 million are women and girls, and 26% are children. So we need to understand how much 5 million children are being trafficked every day is the question that we all need to be understanding, how the magnitude of the problem. Now, the magnitude of the problem apart, what we need to understand is the digitalization of the world. Particularly, we were going digital. The digital revolution has come in and has changed the whole paradigm of how human being exists, the way we do our business, the way we do our classes, the way we do our conferences. Everything has changed. And this has affected the human trafficking element also. Because from the physical world, from the physical trafficking, human trafficking, everything has changed to the digital realm, and we now have the problem of digital trafficking, which is given a lot of advantages to these criminals also, because when you are connected to the digital world, you are connected to everybody. So the world is your framework now, and it's very easy. The communication mediums, the file transfer medium, or how you can communicate with everybody, it's a world stage now. Earlier it had to be local, it had to be geographically based, but now it is universal. There is no geographical boundary as such. And what COVID has done is it has accelerated this digital transformation. A lot of systems without proper security, they have been able to has come on the digital forum, because due to the lockdowns, people had to come at an accelerated pace, putting all those digital services, which led to a compromise in security to a great extent. And that is what has accentuated the problem also. So what we are looking at is the world of virtual trafficking or cyber trafficking, where children are being trafficked for various reasons. Now, this can be labor, but that is not what we are dealing with. Mostly it is the transfer of CSAM material, or the child sexual sexual material that gets transferred. And of course, live things also, live where people are put to live use, where children are put to live screening of obscene films, which has also become one of the major things. I'll come to that in the slides as such. But if you look at the figures now, the current figures, out of 3 out of the 4 victims are trafficked online now. And this is natural. I think during the COVID, this has gone out more. You can say 3.5 out of every 4 victims are trafficked now, because most of the trafficking is now online. Most of the exploitation is now online. With the world also with transportation problems with the COVID, now it is more online than offline, which we need to really deal with on a very sensitive platform. Now, what are the reasons that has actually helped this industry in growing to this level, from nothing to the third largest criminal activity in this world? Of course, internet accessibility has been one reason, where we have now 4 billion people in the world using the internet, which actually help these people to go to every part of the globe, every country, where they can actually sell these goods, sell these children as products, which is one of the main reasons. And the anonymity that the internet provides, the encryptions that have come in the various platforms, the Tor and all kinds of encryptions have really given that anonymity to these criminals to remain safe and to continue with their activities. Then the digitization of the images that is possible. Now everywhere you have video cameras, you have the mobile phones with all the cameras, so the photographs, videographs, it's very easy to take. It's a household activity now. You can take the photograph, the videograph of the child within the household and sell it in the international market. You can give the live relay of any sexual activity happening in the house, and you can give it to a world audience also, which has made it very easy for the criminal to do it. And then, of course, the commercialization of the media that is available. People are ready to pay any amount of money for all these activities. And in many countries, you have all these pedophiles they're ready to give any amount of money for getting pictures or videos of children as such. So these are the 3 basic problems that you have: pornography, child sexual abuse images, and sex trafficking. All 3 are related in one way or other. They cross each other. It is not exclusive. It's not inclusive. They all have got inside. And that is the major problem that we are dealing with in the present times. Now, the current circulation methods over the internet, how does the CSAM material, the child sexual abuse material, get transferred? One of the major mediums is the darknet, where you have darknet sites, you have websites, you have chat rooms where people come together, similar-minded people come together, and they exchange all these videographs. It is sold over the net on the darknet sites as such. A lot of CSAM material is being traded on darknet. That's one of the major sources of such material. Then, of course, now in the present times, with the social media getting encrypted, you have a lot of social media groups also passing on such material. You have Telegram groups where people anonymously come in and they can They get in together from any part of the globe. They become part of the groups if they have similar likes and dislikes, and then they form the group. And in these groups, these videos and photographs are shared. You have WhatsApp also, which has become encrypted now. You have various anonymous chat groups like Chatzy and many others, where all kinds of encryptions are there, which will hide the identity of the person. And in such groups, such videos and pictures are shared. Apart from this, many proprietary encryptions are there, which is one-to-one. So it is almost impossible to break it because nobody else has it. It is those through 2 people or 3 people or 10 people that have it. And it is almost impossible to break such encryption. So such chat groups also are there. Chat applications are also there. You have steganography, where you hide everything under a picture, or under a file is hidden under a picture and sent. Such activities are also being done. Then you have cloud storage, file hosting services like Dropbox, Google Drive, etc., where somebody comes and posts their file, and then the link is sent to the others to really go there and download it from there. So these are the current circulation methods that are there available in the world now. Now, if you look at the CSAM latest trends during the COVID-19 pandemic, we have a tremendous increase in crimes against children. That is, in some sense, natural, because most of the children were hooked onto the devices with online classes, online games, all their activities, and the pedophiles also, they couldn't go anywhere, so they also were 100% devoted to the online platform, and we had a tremendous problem. If you look at the fact of interest also, the search medium, you find a almost 200% increase, the severity of the files a 300% increase, and the downloading rate also, you find a 200% increase in such crimes. And if you go to various social media sites also, you have increase, you name it, Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, darknet or cloud storage, everywhere there was a 200 to 300% increase. And this has been certified by the Interpol team also, which has said that the biggest disaster during the COVID, of course, it was a health disaster. But apart from that, the biggest disaster was that it was against children, where children were treated. Online crimes against children increased by 200 to 300% all around the globe. It was a global phenomenon. It's not that a country phenomena or anything. And it has increased everywhere, which brings us to the very grave problem of how to keep our children safe. And as I mentioned, this was basically fueled by the fact that we shifted from the physical learning to the virtual learning environment. The more time that the children spent online, it increased. People were doing their classes online, their exercises online, their gaming online, everything was online. And then the restrictions on the international travel and repatriation of foreign nationals also, these pedophiles also did not travel. And so they also were hooked on to their devices, trying to bring forth such people. Then, of course, the community support services, the childcare personnel, even the police department was engaged in looking at the COVID protection things. So they did not also have enough time around the globe to look into these aspects, because everybody was concentrating on the COVID aspect. So these factors led to the fact that the crimes against online crimes against children drastically increased around the globe. This is again an official figure of NICMEC, where 128% increase in crimes against children happened throughout the globe. And some of the new trends that have come up in Kerala, as most of you must be aware, we of course were one police force which really concentrated on such crimes. Even during the pandemic, we did not close our CCSE unit, which looks into online crimes against children. That's why we had a lot of success in preventing these crimes, particularly in Kerala. I'll come to that. But due to our activities, there was a lot of change in the modus, how it happened, and the new trends that have come. So now you have in India also, in Kerala also, you have problems like live streaming of child sexual exploitation for payment. So if you want to see a live exhibition of any child being sexually exploited, if you pay a hefty amount, you can see that. We have 2 cases like that. Of course, we couldn't detect it because one was being operated from Singapore. but we have information, we are collecting information, such groups are happening for high payment as well. Then you have CSAM Telegram groups, because we concentrated on catching a lot of groups. So they started making Telegram groups where only the admins can post content. So nobody else can post content. So it became all the more difficult for the police to catch them also, because you don't have any means to contact the administrator or do some social media engineering to catch these people. And then, of course, the WhatsApp groups, most of the WhatsApp groups, these people, these pedophiles used to come using third-party applications. So they will use fake numbers. They'll make an account and then they'll be using those accounts, which makes it almost impossible to detect them also, because their Facebook number would not be the correct number. It will be a temporary fake number, which they are just using to make a WhatsApp group account. Then you had the problem of Zoom bombing also, because many of the classes were online. And if you don't follow the safety precautions while doing the online classes, any unauthorized person can come in and they can put in obscene videos during the class, which also created many problems. We also had 3 to 4 cases like that in the state. And throughout the country, throughout the world, you had a lot of problems. And then, of course, it is not only demand for girls, it's a demand for boys also that came up very big during the COVID. So it is not that only girls are being exploited, boys also are being exploited on the net. So what we need to understand is basically internet has become one of the biggest hub for human trafficking. Human trafficking has now, because of this, the connectivity, the amount of the reach that you have, it has become one of the major industries, and it has been fueled by these encryptions, by the ease in putting up pictures and videos, by all the apps and the various other connects that are available, which makes it very easy to generate these films, to make these films, to edit these films in the home, and to put it out. And so it has become one of the major platforms for human trafficking, particularly trafficking of children, which is our problem. Then, of course, it is the internet, the natural advantages of the internet, the goal, the world is here, the global market is there before you. So it's a platform for selling. Anybody can come and use the internet. You can sell it to any part of the globe. And so it's not like earlier times where you had a local market or you had to go actually physically and sell your products. Now with the internet, everything is available. So it gives you a wide scope of selling these and furthering these activities, which is one of the dangerous trends that you have. And over the social media, you can put up advertisements of victims, you can send photographs, attracting those customers, those rich customers, or those customers who can be lucrative to you. So the internet provides very easy access to that, which is very quite possible. So it is not only advertising about the victims, but attracting clients online is also very easy with the internet as such. And then the social media platforms, I told you, it is helping to promote human trafficking. We have got a lot of social media groups promoting CSAM material, etc. And the surprising fact is that when you catch those groups, you find that every person, most of the people, in a group of say 100, you will have people from Afghanistan, you will have people from Russia, you will have people from China. So there'll be just 100 people, but they'll be from different parts of the globe sharing such material. So what do you get in a group if 100 people share 5 videos itself? The group is getting 500 videos together. So that amount of CSAM material is being transmitted. And that is the strength of these social media platforms also. And due to the jurisdictional problems also, you can't really get to these people who are internationally sitting somewhere. And when you break a group also, you find that it is just for a time. After a while, after a week or so, they form a different group because these people, somehow they manage to find themselves in that same access group, and they form a different group. So this problem keeps on continuing even after you break one group also. So the social media, due to this encryption part, etc., fuels this problem to a great extent also. It's a platform for recruiting also, because the internet can be used earlier to recruit a child victim. You have to go to that slum, you have to go to that place and recruit. That is why the problem was not very big. You had problems in some areas only, say the Bombay slums, or you go to some areas like that where you can find poor people who can be exploited. but not today. Now the internet is being used as a platform for recruitment through the small school groups, for the social media, from the clubs or branches, for the social network. This is all available. So using those connections, you can actually, it can be made as a platform for recruiting also, where you find innocent people, trap them and bring them into this fold also. So the internet has become one of the major places of digital racketing or child trafficking. And this is the problem that we need to understand. That is a major problem in the present times, where our children need to be kept safe. And another factor that is helping these criminals is the bitcoins. As you know, bitcoins is that currency that is traded, and this is widely being used for fueling this child trafficking activity also. And many of the payments, all the payments are basically made through bitcoins, and this has helped both the client and the victim also, because then they also remain anonymous, and so it's a win-win situation. So bitcoins has come and helped the industry, as any other crime industry, has been helped by the internet because they maintain their anonymity, and all the payments are made by the bitcoins also. And as I mentioned earlier, the dark web continues to be the new frontier of human trafficking. Most of the dark web is the underworld of the internet, you can say, where all kinds of banned substances are sold, including drugs, arms, hacking material, or hacked databases, etc. And one of the major things that is traded is the CSAM material also, which is traded in big numbers also. And the distressing part is now you have a lot of local videos, that is Indian videos, even videos from Kerala, being trafficked, being sold on the dark web to a great extent, which is a very disturbing trend. And as I mentioned earlier, the new concept is of webcam sex or live sex, which is gaining ground, which is another very dangerous trend, where the whole thing is really guided by the person who is paying the money. So the person can actually say that how to act or what to do, and the persons there on the other side do that to the child, which is very distressing and depressing also. That's why we need to really, the police is, at least Kerala police is looking at this webcam sex with a very serious eye to stop this trend from spreading any further. So that was the problem. I just wanted to highlight what is happening in the world. What are the problems? It's a very, very, very dangerous, very distressing problem. And we can do a lot. The police forces need to do a lot, and Kerala police has been doing it with the countering child exploitation cell, where we understood that this problem is there. So what we need to understand is, generally, as the police functions or the law enforcement functions, we function on based on complaints. Some complaint comes to us and then you start moving. But in this case, in case of children, you can't do that. So what we do is, without even getting a complaint, we do it suo moto. We just go and patrol the net, find out these criminals and do it. So this is a cell that we have formed, which works 24/7, looking into online crimes against children. It has a structure. I will not dwell into that, but the important part is we are a cell of collaboration. It is not that the police department alone can do it. So we understood that it is only the stakeholders that can come together and work together only to win this war, because the police department thinking that it can do something alone in the digital world is not possible. So what we do at the CCSA cell is we collaborate with all those stakeholders working in the field of child security, cyber security, the government, the private NGOs, because everybody is important. So in this CCSA, we work with a lot of international agencies like the ICMEC, the NICMEC, a lot of NGOs working in the field of protecting children, the child line, the academic agencies, the international law enforcement agencies, the government agencies, including the Interpol. And together we function under this. So that is how we have been very successful in dealing with this thing, because this is an international problem. And over the last 3 to 4 years, since the launch in 2017, we have been very successful. And particularly in the year 2020 and 21, even now, we have really gone berserk with the fact that during the COVID pandemic lockdowns also, we operated very strongly, and we brought many persons to book. Over the years, we have conducted more than 1,210 searches, registered 548, which has increased now to around 780 cases. And we have arrested around 442 people so far, which is one of the success stories anywhere in the globe, which should be one of the highest by figures and by the volume of what we have caught. And this has we have arrested a lot of admins also who run these child pornographic sites, and you will be surprised to know that most of them are very tech savvy people who have very good jobs, who are working as doctors, engineers, and various big companies also, who have fallen into this problem. And we have given a lot of publicity, so that publicity also brings about a lot of deterrence, so that at least people don't go into that, making them understand that's a very serious offense that you're doing. And you will be caught also. People think they will never be caught. But so we give them the understanding that nothing, you can't be safe always. Someday the hands of the law will come behind you. So that publicity has also helped us in deterrence. And we can say that in Kerala, this problem has been controlled to a great extent. Now, just for academic sense, some of the tools that we use in the CCSE to identify this, you should understand that this is a problem where people are using all kinds of Tor and encryption. But we use a lot of software that is supplied by the Interpol, by a lot of international agencies, including ICA Corps, which is a tool to detect such IP addresses that are sharing CSAM material. We use another software called Solis, which is a dark web keyword search software. Then we use a lot of OSINT tools also, ExcepGym, DigiCam, Audacity. Aviator is also another data processing tool that has been given free of cost by the European Union to us, which we use in the CCS. So it's a very technical job that is being done at the CCC unit, because it's not a very easy game. It's not like the usual police patrolling. It's a cyber patrolling that you do with various tools, because all those pedophiles that are using various encryption tools to hide themselves, it requires a lot of efforts to really bring them to the book, to identify a lot of things. A lot of social engineering is required. A lot of efforts is required to catch these people. So we use a lot of tools in that. Of course, the new challenges, a lot of sexual content videos are still available on the internet. Terabytes of images are available, which needs to be taken down, but due to the internet, the nature of the internet, it's very difficult to get it. And then, of course, the training of the police personnel, the dedicated staff, etc., is a challenge that we need to look at. Now, at this point of time, just some recommendations also, what everybody needs to do. Now, Kerala police only doing it will not help, because this is a global problem. Of course, in the international forum, the Interpol is doing a lot of work. A lot of countries are also doing, because they have a zero tolerance policy towards online crimes against children in many of the countries, but much more things need to be done. And we need to understand that this is not purely a policing problem as such. It's a problem that needs the cooperation of the government agencies, the police department, social engineering, the technology fact also, because this is a technology problem involving a lot of technology which is growing. The encryptions are becoming more complex. So it's an intersection of all these agencies that need to come together, because one agency can't do it. All those related stakeholders need to come together to handle this problem. And it needs to become a part of the nation's anti-trafficking strategy. Now, many of the countries, including India, we don't have a proper anti-trafficking strategy, particularly in the digital forum. Understanding that digital intervention is so very crucial. So it is an anti-trafficking strategy, a policy needs to be devised at the national level also. And then, as I mentioned earlier, this is a very complicated problem now. The complexity of the problem is increasing every day. New tools are being used by these criminals to hide their identity, to pass on their the material. And so the appropriate tools, which sometimes may be expensive also, needs to be given to the law enforcement if they want to break such things and get to these criminals or identify these criminals. So providing these tools and giving them training also is very important. Now, another thing is when we are talking of catching criminals only, we are forgetting about one important aspect of saving the child, because many children whose photographs or videographs are being shared, we are not looking at the child. The child may be continuing to be exploited. Somebody has taken a video and put it on the net, so we are looking behind the criminal who is sharing it. We are forgetting about the child. But the child also needs to be saved. So that is also another important task that we need to look at. Kerala Police is tied to a project called Project Vic, where we are digitally trying to identify the children in the videos that we catch, so that we can save them, we can go and save them. And such tools also need to be utilized, where we can use those facial recognition from the videos to the normal things, and digitally we can identify, because you can't identify the children going and showing that in the picture, saying that identify this child. So we need technical solutions to that, and Project Quick is one of the solutions. But everybody needs to look at these children that are being exploited, because we need to protect them also. So that is another important task that we need to look at. And of course, the police everywhere needs to do a lot of sting operations. One of the biggest operations in this regard was the playpen operation, which was done by the US, which connected children internationally, and almost 300 children were rescued internationally, and a lot of arrests around the globe. 548. You look at the number of arrests, you will understand 850 people were arrested around the globe. So you require coordination between the various police forces around the globe, organizations around the globe, and then only you can launch a successful operation. Because as I mentioned, this problem is a global problem, where the groups will have people coming from different countries into this thing, because the internet provides that the scope for everybody to come together. And so such sting operations we need to initiate at the international level to ensure that this problem is nipped in the bud. And of course, budget is a problem with all the agencies. So the government needs to put in more funds into anti-trafficking efforts, particularly on the digital platform, because most of these software will be expensive to run these technical. The plans also would be expensive as such. Constantly training the officers that are behind that and initiating these operations is a costly affair. So the fun part needs to be taken care if we need to be successful. And of course, now even Kerala Police and the national government also has come out with the human trafficking hotline. This is the international hotline, but many other hotlines have come in. The Kerala Police also has a hotline. The National Crime Reporting Portal is available, where you can report such crimes whenever you find it or anybody finds it. So that also is one of the major means by which the information is secured. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the global collaboration is required, because this problem is a global problem. It's not a regional problem. It's not a Kerala-specific problem. It's not even an Indian problem. It's a global problem. So government collaboration is required, because somebody must be sitting in Dubai, or somebody sitting in Singapore or Philippines will be trading pictures of ours. And with our present laws, we can't do it. There's a lot of collaboration is required. Some international forum is required, where we can work together to put this problem, to control this problem, to bring the violators to book also. And as I mentioned earlier, police organizations need to be trained, and this training is a continuous training. It cannot be a training that you train somebody today. What happens is the technology changes, those aspects change, the whole tools change, and then after 6 months, you find that you are nowhere. So this training has to be continuous, because new things are coming up, new kinds of tools are coming up. So you need to keep on training the police officers, also the stakeholders also, on how to respond and how to go about and detect those cases also. So that is also very important in the present times. The NGOs also. The NGOs are an important stakeholder in this activity, because that is where they identify. Many NGOs work in the schools, from where most of the information comes up. You have the child line, you have various NGOs working for the counseling of children affected by such exploitation. So they also needs to be trained on cyber activity, because unless they understand that, they will not be able to respond correctly to the problem. So the NGOs also need to be trained in this regard. The mutual legal assistance treaties between nations need to become up, because you can't transfer information unless you have these MLAT treaties also. And just to highlight, another program that we do is called the Kid Flow program. We do it in schools, which is a awareness program, not only for students, but parents and teachers also. And this program, for the past 4 to 5 years, we are doing in various schools, trying to make the students understand the dangers that are there in the internet, the do's and don'ts they should follow. And not only students, the parents have a very key role to play about teaching them, understanding the problem whenever somebody gets into trouble, how to bring them out. And the parents also back home, the parents need to play a very important role, and most of the parents don't understand it. So at Kids Flow, what we do is we train these stakeholders in this regard. And over these 2 years, what we have done is we have gone over the online platform also, because now with the schools closed down, you can't go physically and train these students. So what we have done is we have brought it under the digital portal in association with the E-Safety Commission Australia. So they have come and they have given a lot of material. So we have a portal running called the Kid Flow, which will give a very important insight for any student coming in on how to be safe on the internet. And suppose somebody falls victim also, what he should do. So all kinds of things. Now after school opens, we again intend to go back to the schools physically also. So digitally and physically, we need to really ensure that our children are safe on the internet. So these are the major steps that we are doing for online protection. Just to conclude with a quote from George Clark, who is the president of NICMET, that no child should ever be sold for sex, or we will work till every child in this world is safe. So that is the motto. Kerala Police also goes with the motto of ensuring zero tolerance. We go with the policy of zero tolerance to any crimes against children, online or offline. And that is how we have been working over the past many years. And though we have great success and we have reduced the problem, but still the problem is not off. So we will work till every child is safe. So that is the motto that we work with. And awareness is one of the most important things. So that's why I thought in this forum, I would come and put forth that problem before you also, so that you also need to be aware that such a problem exists. And together we can fight this menace and ensure that our children are safe on the internet. Thank you very much once again for this opportunity, and over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It was really quite an enlightening talk. I know it's a very difficult topic for all of us, even as you went through the various different statistics, it was just hard enough to digest them. But then, as you rightly said, without the awareness, without a strong conviction to fight them, we absolutely cannot. I just have one main question, which is really related to the fact that, what about regulatory aspects in being able to control the internet? You said that the internet is really one of the biggest issues that we are having today, and its pervasiveness and its ease of access and the anonymity, etc., makes it a very complex problem to solve. So from a regulatory perspective, what you have seen as models in other countries, such as China, which has internet, censorship, there's a lot of isolation. Is that a potential way to control some of these things? What is your opinion about it?
Yeah, this debate of privacy versus regulation has always been there. Of course, from the law enforcement point of view, we always keep on talking of regulation, because at least the law enforcement should be given those the leeway to at least do it in cases of national security, or in such cases where our children are at peril. But over the times, at least particularly in these times when privacy laws are getting stronger, and when the call for privacy is one of the most important things in the present world, most of our tools are getting encrypted. Most of the social media that we say, we keep on harping about privacy to a great extent. But the recent trends has been quite good, in the sense that many countries understanding this problem, that internet is becoming one of the tools of a lot of criminal activity, including terrorism and a lot of activity connected to children, exploitation, etc. Many countries are coming with the problem that at least the law enforcement should be given that leeway to put in some regulations in place, or to come and look at these factors where they can actually intercept all these things. So recently, the Australian government also, which is considered to be one of the places where all these privacy laws are very strong. Many countries are now passing laws where the police is getting, the law enforcement is getting some authority. Of course, we don't say regulation should be one factor, because regulation, privacy still has a role. But I can't hide behind privacy when I'm doing a crime. So that aspect needs to be, there should be a balance between regulation and privacy. That is what we have been saying that. And in this country also, we need to understand that. And still, of course, our laws are still, the police has enough powers to do that. But the talks of privacy are also going on. So there is a perfect balance that we need to bring, because when we are living in a society where crime is existing, we need to understand that this balance is very crucial. You can't go into a world where privacy only exists and the enforcement can't do anything. Because as I told you, the internet, and as you mentioned also, the internet gives a natural way to, the world is your framework, the world is your playground, and you have all kinds of encryptions to hide, which makes it a very dangerous phenomenon unless you have some regulations built into the system.
Okay, sir, I think we have a couple more questions. So is it fine that we ask 2 more questions?
Yeah, 1 or 2 questions I can take.
Yeah, sure. So we are keen to engage formally with the Cyberdome. So how can we do so? This is from one of our professors.
Yeah, basically we are a public-private participation agency. So in the website, we have a page where you can actually come and join the Cyberdome, or you can give a mail at that address with the expertise. Suppose I have expertise in, say, cryptocurrencies. So I give my biodata with the expertise that I can do. I can help you in cryptocurrencies. And so we'll come back to you. We'll immediately look at your biodata, and you need not be in Trivandrum or Kerala. You can be anywhere. You can actually connect to us online and give all the assistance, work with us. We actually have a very good policy of volunteers, where we take people as volunteers, then we even promote them. You can become a commander, you can become a deputy commander, joint commander, based on the work that you do. So what you need to do is, first you need to register at our website or send us an email with your complete biodata, and with a basic understanding of how you can contribute to law enforcement. So with your expertise, what is the area of your expertise, you can apply, and we'll take you. We require people, and in the digital world, we can take all the help that comes.
So another question is, do most of the victims come from less educated families, or how is that part?
It is all kinds of things. Earlier, we also had the stand that it may be the poor children that are coming up, but now no. It is not, the economic standard is not connected at all, because mobile phones everybody has. And now we find that there is no differentiation between a child from a poor family or economically rich family or something. So it is everywhere. The problem is a problem not basically based on the economic factors at all, either in the criminal side or on the victim side. So you find all kinds of people from all stratas of life within that framework, both on the criminal side, on the victim side also. Okay,
so final question. So we see that the globally influential companies like Microsoft are developing tools to counter this exploitation, like photo DNAs and all. But on the other side, there is also a difficulty in getting the data from these globally influential companies. How difficult is it when we request for a data from these companies? How is that?
So that is one of the major problems, the difficulty in getting the data. That's why the government of India recently tightened up a lot of such agencies, saying that you should put your servers in India and you should share data, because the reluctance in sharing data is there. And then the privacy laws in different countries, suppose the server is based somewhere in the US, they will apply their privacy laws, and our summons, etc., doesn't matter to them. So that kind of problem was there. That's why I mentioned in the slide also, we need some international cooperation, a body which really controls the crimes on the internet internationally, because with different laws, with different systems, anybody can hide behind those laws, and we don't get the information. Generally, now also, to get the information, it's a very difficult task. You have to go through various kinds of forms. You have to go through various procedure to get it. Some people, of course, who have India offices now give it faster. But if you go on to sites, if you go on to platforms which are only located internationally, it's almost impossible to get it. So that is a difficulty even now, which exists in our investigation, which makes the problem all the more cumbersome as such.
So thank you so much, sir, for your time with us. In the short time you have given us a comprehensive picture. I know your time is very valuable. We will get back to you regarding the cooperation with the cyber laws.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.